Well, hello friends and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. This is the latest, greatest Trek Domane SL5 for the 2023 season. So this is the fourth generation of an absolute legend of a bike, which is Trek Domane. So let's first answer the question, who is this bike for? So you see, Trek Domane is an absolutely legendary platform when it comes to endurance road bikes. So a bit more relaxed geometry, definitely designed for the long days in the saddle. So if you are in the market for this type of the road bike, then definitely you should check Trek Domane platform. Also in the old days, Trek Domane was very famous for their ISO-speed decoupler both front and the back, but now they have removed the front one and only kept the rear ISO-speed. Also, I gotta mention here, there's always this question about, are endurance road bikes relevant anymore? I truly believe they are, because there's always gonna be a huge number of cyclists who are interested in this endurance road bike with relaxed geometry, specifically for riding only on the road. Of course, you have an option of using a gravel road bike, but in my opinion, gravel road bike is just a huge compromise between a road bike and also off-road bike. So these kind of bikes like Trek Domane or Giant Defy, I truly believe are going to have a place always in the bike industry, and there's always going to be a huge group of people who like this relaxed geometry and smooth ride, specifically on the road. Now let's also answer the question, what's the retail price of this bike? So this is going to be $3,500 retail price. And also keep in mind that this Trek Domane SL5 is the lowest in the Trek range. So now when you think about the starting prices of this endurance road bike from Trek is $3,500. It's very hard in today's bike market to find a bike which has a starting price of about $3,000. Maybe there's going to be some offerings from Giant, Merida, or Canyon, but many bike brands are moving way above $3,000 as the starting price. Unfortunately, it is what it is, and I don't think it's ever going to come back to the levels of $3,000 or less for this kind of entry-level Trek Domane SL bike. So $3,500, definitely not a cheap price in my opinion. Now let's have a look at the paint schemes on this bike. So what do you get? Luckily, Trek is offering 3 paint schemes on this bike. There is this very classical deep smoke or totally blacked out bike. Then you have this kind of metallic gray, or they call it mercury, with a hint of red. Looks very decent. And then in my opinion, a beautiful blue sage paint scheme, almost like a bit light green, blue to green transition. Very nice paint scheme, and I think this is going to be the most popular paint scheme on this bike. So now we can dive into the specifications of this bike and really see what do you get for your hard-earned money. As always, we can kick off with the frame and the fork on this bike. So the frame is the 500 series OCLV carbon fiber frame from Trek with the ISO-speed decoupler on the back. So they have removed the front ISO-speed decoupler. They were saying that in a lot of conversation with professional riders and regular bike riders, people were saying that basically this front ISO-speed is not so important. They would gladly keep the rear ISO-speed. So this rear ISO-speed is the Trek's patented solution, where basically, put it simply, the seat tube can move independently from the top tube and the seat stays, so of course it's going to soak up a lot of road bumps, and definitely this solution works. Everybody who has ever ridden a Trek Domane with the ISO-speed always says it's the most comfortable bike they have ever ridden. So, as I said, carbon fiber frame, 500 series OCLV with the ISO-speed decoupler at the back. You will of course get the internal cable routing on this bike. It also has fender mounts for the fenders and flat mount disc brakes front and the back with 12mm through axles. Fork on the bike, again, Trek Domane SL carbon fiber fork with the carbon fiber steerer. A bit of internal cable routing, flat mount disc brakes, and again fender mounts. All in all, in my opinion, excellent carbon fiber frame and fork from Trek. They always come with a lifetime warranty, so definitely you won't have any problems with this carbon frame and the fork on the Trek Domane. And of course, since this is the 4th generation of Trek Domane, they have also managed to shave a lot of weight out of this carbon frame and the fork, which is always a good thing. Now let's talk about the wheelset on this bike. So the wheelset is a pretty simple aluminum classical wheelset. It comes from the Bontrager, so Bontrager rims, Bontrager Paradigm SL rims, mated with the hubs from Bontrager, classical aluminum hubs with seal cartridge bearings, 12mm through axles front and the back. So very simple aluminum wheelset, and I will just mention here that I would expect this wheelset to be probably somewhere in the range of 1,800 grams, easily, maybe even 1,900 grams. So don't expect anything special from this wheelset. It's going to definitely work perfectly fine, and these hubs from Bontrager should definitely serve you very well for a few years. And then it's always easy to upgrade. The good thing here is that, as I see, this wheelset is wrapped in the Bontrager R3 tires, tubeless ready tires. Of course, the wheelset is tubeless ready. These tires are 32mm tires, so a huge air volume inside, and it's really gonna contribute to the smooth bike ride, and of course that's what you always want. On this bike with the fenders, you can mount tires all the way to 35mm. So if you truly want a super smooth ride, then definitely use the 35mm tires. I'll just mention here that Trek has prepared this wheelset tubeless ready, so you are getting a tubeless sealant and a tubeless rim strip, which is excellent, so you can just easily convert it into a tubeless wheelset if you want. And as I said, if you are running fenders on the bike, maximum tire width is 35mm. If you want to run the bike without the fenders, you can go all the way to 38mm tires, which is truly excellent. And even with a 38mm tire, you can easily go a bit of easy off-roading with this bike. Now let's talk about the group set on this bike. So shifters, front mech and the rear mech, you are getting a Shimano 105 mechanical group set. So this is a Shimano 105 R7000 group set. Excellent mechanical group set, proper workhorse from Shimano, and I'm really glad that there are still bike manufacturers who are including a mechanical Shimano 105 group set, because I'm afraid that as we go into the future, slowly Shimano 105 mechanical could be removed from a lot of bikes, because as you know, Shimano now has their electronic Shimano 105 group set, so this is where the world is going. But as it is now here, mechanical Shimano 105 group set, absolutely excellent, no problems here. I will also mention here that the rear mech on this bike is a long cage, which means that it can accept all the way to 1134 cassette, which is absolutely great, because this is a 11-speed group set. Crankset on this bike, you will get a Shimano's 105 crankset with 5034 chain rings, and this is paired with Shimano's 105 cassette, so HG700 cassette, 1134 cassette. Now you see here you are having a 1-to-1 gear ratio, 1134 cassette, 5034 chain rings, absolutely superb, attacking any steep mountains, spending a lot of hours in your saddle, in my opinion, superb gear combination. One interesting thing on this bike is that the bottom bracket is not a press-fit bottom bracket, it's a threaded bottom bracket using the Praxis T47. Again, your local mechanic will love you. It's easy to service, easy to replace, there's no creaking noises, so it's a great addition to this Trek Domane bike. When you look at the chain on the bike, you will get a Shimano 105 chain, 11-speed chain, so definitely no cutting corners here on the cassette and the chain. And I would always advise you in the future, when you destroy the chain and the cassette, always keep it Shimano, so Shimano 105, Shimano Ultegra, whatever you want, as long as it is 11-speed compatible. Now let's talk about the seat post and the saddle and some of the other smaller components on the bike. So when you look at the saddle, it's a very classical Bontrager P3 comp saddle. I'm not expecting anything, special out of this saddle. If you like it, great. If not, it's easy to replace and upgrade with your desired saddle. When you look at the seat post, they are using a carbon fiber seat post, Domane carbon fiber seat post with 20mm of offset, which again is a great addition to this bike, because you always know that the carbon fiber seat post is going to soak up a lot of smaller road bumps, and since this bike is all about smooth ride, this is definitely something that you want. Now when you look at the handlebars and the stem on this bike, so what do you get? So handlebars are aluminum handlebars from Bontrager, their Bontrager Elite Isozone handlebars, and also the stem is the aluminum stem from Bontrager. I'm so glad that Trek didn't go here with one piece aerodynamically optimized handlebars and the stem. So these are separate pieces. Nothing is proprietary here. Very easy to replace, upgrade, service, very easy to adjust your position on the bike. This is absolutely great. Of course, both handlebar and the stem are aluminum pieces. In my opinion, that's totally fine. If you really want to upgrade something, it's very easy to buy yourself a carbon fiber handlebars if you really want it. Now let's talk about the braking system on the bike. So you are getting a Shimano's 105 hydraulic disc brakes, front and back, with the Shimano's RT70 braking rotors. So these rotors are 160 millimeters front and back, which is great. And I will just mention here that RT70 are pretty basic Shimano braking rotors. And in the future, I would advise you to upgrade a little bit and buy yourself a Shimano Ultegra braking rotors, or you can even buy some braking rotors from the Shimano's mountain bike world, for example, Shimano SLX, Shimano XT braking rotors. Everything is going to fit perfectly fine. And just because they come with the ice freeze, ice tech technology, where there is a better heat dissipation from the rotors, so a bit better braking performance. That's a tip for the future. Of course, I forgot to mention here that on this carbon frame, you also have a bit of a storage at the down tube, which is very nice if you need to bring some smaller pieces of tools with you on your longer bike rides. When we talk about the total weight of this bike, Trek is claiming 8.93 kilograms for size 56. Okay, so when you add the pedals on top of it, it's going to be probably closer to 9.3, 9.4 kilograms, which is definitely, not the light bike, but this is not the point of this bike. As I said, this is all about endurance, smooth bike riding, long days in the saddle, so this is approximately 9.3 to 9.5 kilograms. In my opinion, it's totally fine, because when you look at some other endurance road bikes, they will also usually be around 9 kilograms. So all in all, when you look at this Trek Domane SL5 for the 2023 season with the retail price of $3,500 US, so what would I advise you to do? Should you just go ahead and buy it, or should you just consider it? Well, I think you should definitely consider this bike. I wish that the price is a little bit lower. I wish that Trek could have kept a price of approximately $3,000 US on this bike, because as it is now, $3,500 US for an entry-level bike is a bit, too much in my opinion. And I hope that some of the competition like Giant, Merida, Canyon, I hope they could drop the prices a little bit lower, approximately around $3,000 US, because then it's a really attractive price point. As it is now, as I say, $3,500 US, just a little bit too pricier, in my opinion, for this Trek Domane SL5. So, I think this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing, and if you do, keep on watching, keep on liking, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Cheers!